LEGO Marvel Superheroes has been going strong for well over a decade now. Some of the greatest LEGO sets of all time have come from this theme, including the Avengers Tower and the recently released Milano. However, on the flip side, there have been some legitimately awful LEGO Marvel Superhero sets. The most recent victim of this is set number 76323, Avengers Endgame Final Battle, that a lot of LEGO fans have already proclaimed as the worst Marvel set of all time. Seeing the hyperbolic response to this set got me thinking, what are really the worst LEGO MCU sets ever made? So I did what I do best, made a list. Without further ado, here are my picks for the top 10 worst LEGO Marvel Cinematic Universe sets of all time. I have a few random rules for today's video. Number 1, these are only sets based on the MCU in particular. The reason I made this distinction is because honestly the list would have been full with bad construction figures and weird Spider-Man vehicles if I did not. Number 2, I will not be considering any 4+ sets. Those are made for toddlers. They are not fit to be on this list. I also won't be talking about poly bags. Number 3, the aforementioned Avengers Endgame Final Battle set will not be on this list because it has not been officially released, and it feels unfair to me to include a set that nobody actually has at this moment in time on a worst set list. I hope all of those rules make sense. Now let's dive into the countdown. Number 10, 76314, Captain America Civil War Action Battle. Okay, you see I did not include the Endgame Final Battle because it has not officially been released. However, this Civil War set has been released, and oh my goodness, this set was a tremendous letdown. The 2024 Age of Ultron set, very similar to this, is fantastic. I love that set. It's one of the best Marvel display pieces they've made in the play scale. And let's be real, Civil War is a way better movie than Age of Ultron, and the airport battle is one of the most iconic fight scenes in the entire MCU, and the original airport battle set from 2016 was a great product. So with 9 years of new pieces, building techniques, and minifigure designs, I figured this set was going to be one of the best Marvel sets of all time, but the exact opposite happened, and it broke my heart. The minifigures here are just a hodgepodge of good, bad, and ugly. I mean, look at that Bucky figure without arm printing. What are you doing, LEGO? But the build in particular is just not good. Way too many parts here were used to make an underwhelming looking giant man figure that's way worse than the 2016 version. The Quinjet isn't the worst thing at that scale, but it should have been way bigger, and then the airport itself is just a corner of a facade. It is hideous and not cool at all. If we were making a list of the most disappointing LEGO Marvel sets of all time, this one might have been higher. As it stands, I don't think it's quite as bad as some of the other builds on this list, but it still ain't good. Number 9. 76282, Rocket and Baby Groot. A consistent theme throughout today's video is a lot of these sets will include 1 or 2 very cool minifigures, but everything else is not very good. And that is the case here today. I think this Baby Groot minifigure looks fantastic. I love it. But this buildable Rocket Raccoon figure just is not working for me at all. I do like the tail, credit where credit is due, but that face is cursed. Just look at it. Ugh, I can't. It's hideous. Number 8. 76185, Spider-Man at the Sanctum Workshop. LEGO has made a number of Sanctum Sanctorum sets throughout the years, and most of them have been really good, if not great. And then we have the 2021 Sanctum Workshop set based supposedly on Spider-Man No Way Home. But in reality, nothing like this really happens in the movie. There's some kind of creature that people theorize was the Scorpion. Yeah, that did not come to fruition. LEGO was just making stuff up here. And the build is just a mess. It's really hard to tell exactly what's going on here. It's a chunk of the interior, but just feels really mismatched together. Sure, there are some good minifigures, but a lot of them eventually came in other sets, so really nothing is desirable about this product, and it was a horrible only Spider-Man No Way Home set for quite some time. Thankfully, they eventually actually made some proper sets from this movie once Marvel got a little bit less secretive about the actual story details of the film, but when this set came out, it was before the movie, and it was our only official No Way Home set, and it sucked. Number 7. 76256 Ant-Man construction figure. A lot of these cursed construction figures are actually not based on the MCU proper, but a few of them are, and none of them are as disappointing as this Ant-Man construction figure. As for the build of this set, it just looks extremely mediocre. I don't really like the look of these construction figures in general, but the reason I despise this particular product is because this is the only set from Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. They did not give us an official set from this movie with minifigures. And look, Quantumania is one of the worst movies in the MCU. I'm not exactly dying to get a bunch of sets from it. However, there are some undeniably cool figure designs that could have come from this movie, including Kang the Conqueror. But nope, we get this ugly construction figure of Ant-Man and a little itty bitty micro figure of the Wasp, which is cool, but not exclusive to this set anymore. So yeah, this is one of the worst MCU tie-in sets upon release with the movie. I can't believe they did Quantumania this dirty. Number 6, 76050, Crossbones' Hazard Heist. Shout out to the Falcon minifigure here. It's our first Falcon we ever got from the MCU, and he looks pretty darn good. But what the heck is this vehicle exactly? It looks like something from that steampunk era of Lego Ninjago. Y'all remember that? Nothing like this is in Captain America: Civil War whatsoever. I have no clue what this is supposed to even be representing. Also, the Crossbones figure just didn't quite do it for me. Black Widow looks fine, but she's a pretty easy character to find. Civil War had plenty of sequences that would have translated very well into a $20 set back in 2016. Whatever this is supposed to be just did not come together, and of course, it's not even in the movie, which is why it's on this list. Number 5, 76195, Spider-Man's Drone Duel. Speaking of not being in the movie, this gigantic spider drone is not in the film, as you probably all knew. Legitimately, I don't even really know what this set is supposed to be representing. According to Brickset, this is listed under Spider-Man Homecoming, which makes sense because it does come with the Michael Keaton version of the Vulture, who was a really cool looking minifigure. I quite liked this remake of him in 2021. But on the other hand, you get Spider-Man's weird inside out black and gold suit, which is once again a great looking minifigure, but that is from Spider-Man No Way Home. And then the main build is this drone that's themed with his black and gold suit, and yeah, nothing that even remotely resembles this appears in any of the MCU Spider-Man films. Once again, Lego just made something up. And the thing they made up wasn't even remotely cool. It's just stupid and makes zero sense for the Spider-Man character. Yeah, this set blows. Number 4, 76123, Captain America Outriders Attack. A lot of the non-MCU Lego sets from the Marvel theme have been giant oversized motorcycles, and I have complained about it a number of times on this channel. But the MCU itself has mostly avoided this because, you know, they're based on movies, and normally Lego doesn't have to make up stuff to actually do their sets on. Unless you're Avengers Endgame, which Marvel was very secretive about, so Lego really had to get creative with their sets, and honestly, the other Endgame sets that came out before the movie aren't great, but none of them made my worst sets of all time list. But this set is an oversized motorcycle, and an ugly one at that. At least it introduced a new helmet piece for Captain America, which they still use to this day. I like that quite a bit, but nothing else about this set is even remotely desirable. Number 3, 76207, Attack on New Asgard. My hatred for this set might have been amplified by how bad Thor: Love and Thunder ended up being. I'm not sure I want to claim that as the worst movie in the MCU quite yet, but I personally believe it might be the most disappointing film they've ever created. And the build of this set is just laughably awful. Whatever this creature is supposed to represent, I believe it's those things they fight in New Asgard relatively early in the film. It doesn't look like what we saw in the movie. And the Lego build just kind of resembles like a Mixel or something. It is not pleasant to look at. Additionally, while the 3 minifigures are nice, they all also came in the Goat Boat set. So it had 0 exclusive minifigures, meaning there really was no reason to actually purchase this unless you just love this inaccurate and ugly build. Number 2, 76008, Iron Man vs. the Mandarin Ultimate Showdown. When people talk about inaccurate LEGO Marvel superhero sets from the MCU, I feel like this one is always brought up, and with good reason. Iron Man and the Mandarin don't actually fight in this movie, because obviously if you've seen Iron Man 3, you know the big twist involving the Mandarin. And while the Iron Man suit included here does look pretty cool and the Mandarin figure ain't half bad, it's just funny this scene they have with whatever the heck you'd call this vehicle for the Mandarin. It looks kind of like a bumper car plus a fire truck or a forklift. I really don't even know how to describe this thing. It's just a laughably, hilariously bad looking build. Honestly, I bet a lot of you thought this was going to be the #1 worst set on this list, but there is one set in my opinion that is just unforgivably horrible. That set is #1, 76210. Hulkbuster. Who would have thought the most expensive Marvel Cinematic Universe set of all time would be the worst Marvel set ever created? This set truly is just a comedy of errors. There are so many components that just went horribly wrong here. First off, this is, like I said, the most expensive set ever created for the LEGO Marvel Superheroes theme. This thing cost more than the Avengers Tower, which included 30 minifigures and over 1,000 more pieces. I still can't really wrap my head around that, and the Avengers Tower came out after, so it's not like inflation hit this set or anything. Additionally, nobody was asking for a Hulkbuster of this scale. I would not have been opposed for a somewhat bigger kind of UCS-esque LEGO Hulkbuster set. We got the $120 version in 2018, which looked fine. If they doubled the price of that set and made a bigger, more detailed Hulkbuster, I would have been all for it. But $550 for a Hulkbuster with one minifigure? No, what are you doing? And then the price to part ratio of this set is awful. Yeah, it has some light bricks, yeah, it has some very large pieces, but it does not change the fact that it's not a good price in any way, shape, or form. But bad value is not the end-all be-all when it comes to the quality of a LEGO set. Sometimes a set can be a really bad value, like the Hoopty, but avoid this list because the design was actually pretty good. Unfortunately, for set number 76210 Hulkbuster, the design was not very good. Actually, in fact, it's quite awful. Here's a picture of this Hulkbuster set, and here's a picture of the Hulkbuster from Age of Ultron it's supposed to be replicating. Yeah, the proportions just aren't there, man. I'm not gonna sit here and break down every single thing that's slightly out of scale. It's just the entire build does not look right, and the whole thing is so dang heavy, it has practically no great articulation. And the reason for this is actually kind of cool. You could put the construction figure of Iron Man inside of it, which is not a gimmick that I hate. However, that was a separate set, and building this bigger version around that Iron Man completely compromised the look of the actual build of the Hulkbuster here, yielding just an ugly design. So the horrible combination of a terrible looking build, only one single minifigure, and one of the worst prices in LEGO history made this, in my opinion, by far the worst LEGO MCU set of all time. Those are just my thoughts though. I'd love to hear yours in the comment section down below. What sets are on your list for the worst Marvel sets ever made? Thank you all so much for watching today's video. Have a fantastic rest of your day. Peace out. God bless. Bye-bye.